Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura and I have been eating a carnivore diet and sharing with people here on YouTube for many years now. And some of the common complaints that I hear about carnivore is that it's too expensive. I would get bored, there's not enough variety, and it's just too difficult to be cooking meat every day, and who wants to eat meat every day? So I'm gonna address all of those things in one meal. We're gonna do a 3-course, budget-friendly, super easy, simple meal, all in the air fryer. I'm taking away all those excuses so that hopefully this encourages you how affordable, easy, and delicious a carnivore diet can be. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Element. Element is the electrolyte supplement that I have been taking every day for many years. I love the convenience of the packets and I love the unflavored version because it's literally just sodium, magnesium, and potassium, and it's really the perfect ratio of electrolytes that I need in order to keep me hydrated. Everybody in our family is a big fan of it, and if I'm looking for like a little sweet treat, I love the grapefruit flavor. My husband also really loves the chocolate caramel in his morning coffee, and they have all kinds of fun flavors for the entire family depending on your goals and how you tolerate things like sweeteners and natural flavors. If you want to try a free sample pack, Element has a deal for all my subscribers where you can get this free sample pack with any purchase. You can go to drinkelement.com/LauraSpath and you can figure out which one you like best. Thanks to Element for sponsoring this video. Because this is going to take the longest to cook, we are actually going to start with what is my favorite budget-friendly carnivore side dish, and that is chicken with the skin on it. So affordable. This is chicken leg quarters that I got for $1.57 a pound. Now, the amount of food that I'm cooking might be too much for you in one meal, so you obviously could do a portion of this, something smaller, or maybe this is 2 separate meal ideas for you, but we're gonna do it all at once because I like to see a lot of variety on my plate. So we're gonna take one of these leg quarters, we're gonna prep it and put it in the air fryer, and it's gonna start cooking while we then prep our main dish. Depending on how many people you're serving, you could do multiples of these. I'm just gonna cook myself a big meal. My family's all out for the day. So we are gonna do 1 leg quarter and then I will freeze the rest of them. This is the point where, depending on how you personally tolerate seasonings, this would be delicious with crispy skin, even if you used just salt. But because another way that I add variety in my carnivore diet is to add some spices, I'm gonna be adding the Red Rock barbecue seasoning from Redmond Real Salt. When I'm using seasoning, I'm just looking to avoid sugars, carbs, MSG, and any other type of fillers. So Redmond's is a nice, clean seasoning blend that I like to use. We're just gonna give this a nice coating of seasoning on all sides. And then in order to ensure this is cooked perfectly, I'm gonna put my meat thermometer and we're gonna stick it deep into this thigh and ensure that it's not touching a bone, but I'm getting deep in the meat. This piece of chicken is probably gonna take 25 minutes, maybe all the way up to 30, but that's why my meat thermometer is gonna tell me exactly how long it's gonna take. I'm actually gonna start with it skin side down, and then I will flip it over halfway through. I wanna start with the skin side down so that way it can finish with that skin getting nice and crispy. I'm going to cook this at 375 degrees Fahrenheit until it reaches that internal temperature of 165 degrees. The reason why I'm doing this at 375 instead of 400 is I don't want the skin to burn before the inside chicken is cooked. So that's why we're gonna cook this a little bit lower than, I think everything I've ever cooked in the air fryer is at 400 degrees. This one, because it's in there for so long, we're gonna do a little lower. In addition, because it's gonna be in there for so long, I have not preheated this at all, and we're just gonna put the chicken right inside. I have some recipes on this channel where I have done like crispy chicken in a cast iron skillet in the oven. It's so delicious that way, but it is a lot more messy and it's a way more hands-on approach. So if you're looking for a set it and forget it, the air fryer is the way to go. Honestly, if that's all I was eating, I could go back to work for the next 20 or 30 minutes and just keep an eye on my meat thermometer app and it will tell me exactly when it's gonna be finished. However, we are gonna have some beef to go along with it. I love having 2 meats at every meal, and I feel like even though this beef portion we're making is probably smaller, I feel like beef itself has to be considered the main course and chicken is the side. So we are going to take, this was in my freezer and I thawed it out. It is a tri-tip, but for this recipe, you can use really any kind of beef. This is a Brazilian garlic beef chunks. You don't have to use the garlic depending on how you tolerate it, but it's so good. It's actually one of our favorite cuts from Fogo de Chão or most Brazilian restaurants that you go to where they cook the meat on the skewer. We are gonna replicate that with this tri-tip. Traditionally in Brazilian culture, they make this out of just the scraps of the rest of the meats. So this would work with any kind of meat scraps that you have. It would work really well with a picanha or a top sirloin cap. Really just sirloin steak in general, and anything that you can find with fat on it is gonna be even more delicious. I know tri-tip, picanha, and things are harder to find depending on where you live, so don't be afraid to try this recipe with any cut of meat or scraps that you happen to have on hand. The fat is just going to add a lot of flavor, and a lot of times meat in the grocery store doesn't have this extra fat cap on it, so don't be afraid to ask your butcher to make it special for you and leave it untrimmed. This tri-tip I got in my area for $3.47 a pound. A lot of times it's on sale, so just whatever meat's on sale in your area, especially if it has some good fat on it, you can use for this recipe. Anytime you are cooking with beef, it's really helpful to know where the grains of the meat are. And in something like a tri-tip, you can see these really long fibers. A tri-tip is gonna kind of split as you go down the meat. So these are running, we see these fibers of the meat are running this way, and then over here, it's going this way. So I'm gonna give this a cut right on that bend. And now look, we see these nice long fibers of the meat. If this is too much fat for you, you can trim it off. How gorgeous is that meat and all that fat? When I am cutting this into chunks, I wanna leave the chunks like a couple inches wide. The smaller the pieces, the quicker it's gonna cook. Okay, like that's a lot. I'm actually gonna trim a little bit of that fat. We wanna leave some, and then I'll save this and we'll use this for cooking or for rendering down. I'm now gonna cut this into chunks. So I have a little bite of fat on the top of every one of these. Now we see here the longer fibers, and then you can tell that this was cut against the grain. And so we see those shorter fibers. When I eat it, I will cut them in little slices, so I'm getting a bite of fat, and then the meat's gonna be nice and tender because I'm cutting it against the grain as I eat it. Okay, I wanna point out one thing while we are so up close and personal. Do you see this brown? A lot of people get nervous from the brown on the meat. This was frozen and it's thawed. It's just because the brown just means it is now exposed to air and it's oxidizing. It does not mean that it's bad. Even this brown fat, no problem. This, where I just cut it, has not been exposed to air yet. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this meat. If beef goes bad, trust me, you are gonna smell it. This smells just like beef and it's nice and fresh. There is nothing wrong with it. The cool thing about this recipe too is that you really can just make as much as you're hungry for. Over time, you're gonna learn how much is comfortable for you to eat in one sitting. And I know this is really just the right amount of beef for me. So I'm actually gonna take these and maybe I'll just grill this piece whole sometime, or I can cut this into chunks for another meal tomorrow. And of course, we are gonna save a lot of that fat. Now we are gonna season this with some butter and garlic. However, both of those things are going to burn in our air fryer if we put it in too early. So we are just gonna use some salt to season this beef for now. And then I'm going to wait until my meat thermometer is telling me I have about 10 minutes left before we put in the beef. So we'll just coat some salt, and then right before it finishes cooking, we are gonna cover it with our butter and garlic. The beef, we are gonna go back to cooking at 400 degrees. Also, now that our chicken is halfway done, we're gonna go ahead and give it a flip. Once my beef is almost done, I'm gonna take a couple tablespoons of butter and about a teaspoon of minced garlic. Sometimes maybe I overdo it a little bit on the garlic. And I'm gonna put this in the microwave so it's nice and melted, and I'll pull out that beef, toss it in here real quick, and then put it back in the air fryer. That way it's gonna have the nice flavor of the charred butter and garlic, but it's not gonna be in there so long that it burns. My favorite dessert on a carnivore diet is just a piece of fried melty cheese. This is uncooked so far. I will link in the description my favorite brands of cheese. You know, you can find these sometimes at your local grocery store, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, or you can order it online, but it is called bread cheese or oven baked cheese, and there's no bread involved. It's literally just a special kind of cheese that melts up perfect and crispy on the outside and gooey on the inside, and it tastes like you're eating a mozzarella stick. Traditionally in the Brazilian culture, they drizzle honey over it, which my son loves to do, but it's perfect just the way. I don't even need the honey. I do it just plain. So as soon as the chicken and the beef come out, I'm gonna give myself 2 chunks of cheese for dessert. I try not to have cheese be something that I'm mainlining every day. If I'm really having that craving, it is the perfect dessert. Okay, here we have it. My cheese was in the air fryer for just a couple of minutes. Let's start with dessert first. Oh, it's literally my favorite thing ever. And then look at this beef. I have all this nice fat on top. And then this delicious, this is like full on barbecue. Obviously it wouldn't get quite as charred if you didn't use this type of seasoning, but man, this smells like it's been in the smoker all day, and I'm so excited. Let's dig in. Okay, look at this. The chicken skin is amazing. We see that juice is dripping off there. Oh, there is so much flavor in that. And then look, I sliced up this beef. Perfect medium rare. I got some good garlic. Not bad sear really for it being in the air fryer. And when you slice it against the grain like this, it's gonna be super tender. And then look at that little beautiful piece of fat that's right on top. That's like having like a little pat of butter or melty animal fat on top of every single bite. And then so much flavor in this chicken. Okay, I need a napkin. This huge meal, which for some people would feed them for an entire day, split up over the course of a couple of meals. I am starving. I had a little bit of bacon for breakfast. It's now 5 o'clock. I'm gonna eat this entire thing for my dinner. This was under $5, right? This was like $1.50 worth of chicken. We have like $2 or $3 worth of beef, depending on what kind of beef you're using, what kind of sales you're finding. And then I have like $1, maybe $2, depending on the cheese. Who could get sick of this? Look at this. So much flavor, so many textures, so much variety, so affordable, super easy, all in your air fryer. Comment down below if you give this a try, or what is your favorite budget-friendly, easy, convenient meals. Thanks for watching.